Your phone buzzes in your pocket, an email pings on your screen, and a car honks outside, all in the span of 10 seconds. You feel your heart rate spike and your chest tighten, even though you are sitting perfectly safe in a comfortable, climate-controlled office chair. You tell yourself you just need to manage your time better. You think you're just easily distracted, or maybe a little bit stressed. But for 99% of human history, a sudden, sharp noise wasn't a calendar reminder. It was a matter of life or death. If a twig snapped in the dark, you didn't have time to think. Your body dumped adrenaline into your blood to make you run. Today, your ancient brain is reacting to a random group chat message exactly like it's a hungry cave lion hiding in the tall grass. Welcome to the ultimate evolutionary mismatch. Your body is built for the quiet prehistoric savanna, but you live in a modern digital war zone. This sensory overload is secretly exhausting you. It's draining your energy, ruining your focus, and leaving you feeling burned out by 5 p.m. Let's rewind the clock about 300,000 years. Imagine you are an early human, waking up on the vast, open African savanna. Your acoustic environment is incredibly rich, but it is entirely natural. You hear the wind rustling the leaves, birds singing. These sounds are continuous and soothing. They tell your nervous system that everything is perfectly fine and that you are safe in your territory. You might only hear a few truly urgent, high-alert sounds in an entire day: a predator's growl, a warning shout, or a snapping branch. When that rare alarm sound happens, your brain's amygdala instantly takes over. It shuts down digestion and floods your system with stress hormones. This massive cortisol spike gives you the explosive energy to fight off a threat or sprint away to safety. It is a brilliant survival mechanism. Once the danger is gone, your body slowly clears the stress hormones. You sit by the fire, you relax, and your nervous system resets. Now, fast forward back to your modern Tuesday morning. You wake up and immediately your digital environment starts demanding your absolute attention. According to neuroscientist Daniel Levitin, we have created a world with an unprecedented amount of data. It is a state of constant information overload. Every time your phone dings, your brain doesn't know it's just an email about a pizza discount. It processes it as an interruption. To your primitive threat detection system, an unpredictable, sharp digital ping is a potential danger. So, your brain releases a tiny hit of cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate slightly elevates, and your muscles subtly tense up. If it was just one email a day, you would be fine. The problem is the sheer volume of these microstressors bombarding you constantly. You are experiencing dozens, if not hundreds, of these tiny fight-or-flight reactions every single day. Your nervous system never gets a chance to reset. This is why you feel physically exhausted after sitting at a desk all day. Your brain is running a marathon of threat assessments. Daniel Levitin points out that processing all this trivial information actually depletes oxygenated glucose in your brain. It literally burns up your mental fuel. Your ancestors conserved their energy for hunting or foraging. You are burning yours by trying to ignore the red notification badges on your screen. Think about the modern open-plan office. It is an acoustic nightmare for a brain designed to monitor the environment for stealthy predators. You hear overlapping conversations, ringing phones, and typing keyboards. Your brain is subconsciously tracking every single noise to ensure it's not a threat. This constant background scanning leaves you in a state of low-grade, chronic anxiety. You are always on edge, even when nothing is wrong. It's a perfect example of what evolutionary biologist Daniel Levitin calls a sensory mismatch. Our bodies are incredibly ill-suited. We evolved for a world of quiet, natural rhythms, but we built a society of blaring alarms, flashing screens, and endless digital demands. But it gets worse. It's not just the noise that's draining you, it's what the noise forces your brain to do over and over. Every notification is a demand to switch your attention, and your brain is incredibly inefficient at jumping from one complex task to another. Psychologist Gloria Mark spent years studying how people interact with digital screens. Her findings reveal a shocking truth about our modern work habits. In 2004, the average time a worker spent on a single screen before switching was 2.5 minutes. By 2023, that average attention span had plummeted dramatically. Mark found that modern humans now switch content 47 seconds. Imagine an ancient hunter trying to track a deer, but every 47 seconds, someone taps him on the shoulder to ask a question. He would never catch the deer, and he would probably lose his mind. Yet, that is exactly how we expect ourselves to work today. Every single time you switch tasks, from writing a complex report to checking a random message, your brain has to reconfigure its entire cognitive network. This process leaves a residue of attention on the old task. You are never fully present in the new task for several minutes. Gloria Mark notes that this constant rapid-fire shifting creates a profound sense of psychological stress, completely draining your energy. Our ancestors rarely had to multitask in this aggressive, fragmented way. Surviving in the wild required deep, sustained. When you chipped a stone tool, you focused on the stone. When you tracked an animal, you gave it your complete, undivided attention. This deep focus wasn't just productive, it was actually calming. It put the brain into a state of flow, reducing stress and anxiety. But the modern digital world actively punishes deep focus. The algorithms, apps, and platforms are specifically engineered to interrupt you, and we have built a digital ecosystem that treats our ancient, deeply focused brains like they are broken, constantly demanding them to scatter their attention. So why do we let these devices interrupt us? Why don't we just turn off the notifications and enjoy the silence like our ancestors? Because along with the cortisol stress, your smartphone is also brilliantly hijacking your brain's ancient reward system, specifically targeting your vulnerable dopamine pathways. In the prehistoric world, dopamine was the neurochemical that kept you alive. It rewarded you for finding new information or discovering a fresh food source. When your ancestor found a new berry bush, their brain gave them a hit of dopamine. It felt good, so they kept exploring. This powerful novelty-seeking instinct was a crucial survival tool. It actively forced early humans to constantly scan their changing environment. Tech companies understand this ancient biology perfectly. They designed the red notification badges to look exactly like ripe, juicy berries to your brain. Every time you hear that ping, your brain thinks it might be life-saving new information. It gives you a tiny hit of dopamine anticipation. You feel an overwhelming urge to check the screen. But instead of life-saving data, you just see a meme or a promotional email. The reward is hollow, but the biological mechanism has already been triggered. So you keep checking, caught in an endless, exhausting behavioral loop. You are stuck in a cycle of anxiety from the interruption and a hollow dopamine hit from checking it. It is a biological trap. Your ancient brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Pay attention to sudden changes and seek out new, rewarding information. The problem isn't that you lack discipline. The problem is that your brain's operating system hasn't been updated in 300,000 years. We are trying to navigate a hyper-connected, high-speed, infinite information world using biological hardware that was originally optimized. And unfortunately, this relentless sensory overload isn't just making us tired at work. It is fundamentally changing how we experience. Even when we finally put the phone down, the phantom vibrations and the lingering stress hormones make true ancient relaxation almost completely impossible. Evolutionary biologist Daniel Levitin calls this a classic mismatch. You have a Paleolithic body trying to navigate a space-age world. Let's compare your daily soundscape to an ancient hunter-gatherers. Their world was entirely governed by the quiet, predictable rhythms of the natural environment. A typical prehistoric day featured sounds like wind blowing through the grass, water flowing in a stream, and the soothing crackle of a warm fire. These natural acoustics are processed by your brain as signals of safety. They tell your nervous system that you can finally relax and heal. But today, your typical Tuesday morning is a chaotic symphony of aggressive, artificial noises that are specifically engineered to grab your immediate attention. Alarm clocks, car horns, sirens, microwave beeps, and the endless clicking of keyboards. Your ancient brain never gets the biological all-clear signal. To make matters worse, many digital notifications are pitched at the exact same frequency as a crying human baby or a highly distressed animal. Tech designers literally engineered these sounds to pierce through background noise and perfectly trigger your deepest, most primal caretaking and survival instincts. So when a work group chat blows up at 7 p.m., your brain reacts almost exactly as if an infant is in immediate mortal danger. You feel a sudden rush of panic. You drop everything to check the glowing screen, only to find a funny meme sent by your coworker. This constant state of false biological alarm leads to what psychologists call decision fatigue and cognitive depletion. Your prehistoric ancestors made only a handful of highly consequential decisions a day: where to hunt, what to gather, and where to safely sleep. You make thousands of micro decisions before noon. Swipe left, delete email, ignore advertisement, close pop-up window. By the time you need to do actual meaningful work, your prefrontal cortex is completely burned out from managing an endless pile of digital trash. And then you wonder why you have absolutely no energy left to exercise, cook a healthy meal, or simply enjoy a quiet, peaceful evening. This evolutionary mismatch also perfectly explains why your modern anxiety feels so intensely physical. Anxiety is essentially your ancient brain preparing your physical body to fight a deadly threat that does not actually exist in the modern room. Your heart pumps faster to send blood to your muscles, your breathing gets shallow, and your digestion completely shuts down to quickly save energy. But there is no saber-toothed cat to sprint away from. You are just sitting completely still in a rolling chair, staring at a bright spreadsheet. Because you cannot physically fight or run away from an impending deadline, those heavy stress hormones just sit and accumulate in your bloodstream. Over time, this chronic exposure to cortisol severely damages your immune system, disrupts your deep sleep, and can literally shrink your brain's hippocampus. Your brain's vital memory and learning center is being slowly eroded by the sheer volume of artificial urgency you are forced to face every day. For you, it just means it is a typical Wednesday in the modern corporate world. Society has tragically normalized a state of constant biological emergency. Think about how you try to relax after work. You sit on a soft couch, but you leave the television blaring while scrolling on your phone. You are trying to rest your physical body while simultaneously redlining your cognitive engine with even more fragmented, high-speed, and stress. Your prehistoric ancestors understood what true rest looked like. When the sun went down, the visual and auditory they sat quietly by the fire, shared food, and looked at the stars. The natural darkness triggered melatonin production. You stare into a bright LED rectangle that blasts harsh blue light directly into your retinas, completely tricking your brain into thinking it is high noon. No wonder you cannot fall asleep easily. Your ancient biology is actively screaming that it is daytime and there are dangerous predators hiding everywhere. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar found that your brain evolved to handle complex social relationships with a maximum of about 150 specific people. This famous Dunbar's number represents the size of a typical ancient tribe. You knew everyone deeply, and everyone knew you. Today, your phone exposes you to the harsh opinions, global tragedies, and impossible demands of millions of complete strangers from all over the planet. Your ancient brain is simply not equipped to process the heavy emotional weight of a global population. It was exclusively built for a small local tribe. When you read angry comments or see distressing news online, your nervous system mistakenly internalizes it as a direct physical threat to your immediate community. You are essentially carrying the intense psychological stress of the entire world on a neurological framework designed for a small valley in the prehistoric savanna. So, how do you actually survive in this loud, fast, and overwhelming digital age without completely frying your ancient, highly sensitive biological hardware? You cannot travel back in time to the Stone Age, and throwing your expensive smartphone into the ocean is probably not a very practical career move. But you can start by actively managing your daily sensory environment. You have to intentionally create pockets of turn off all non-essential push notifications immediately. If it is not a direct message from a real human who needs you, your brain does not need to hear it. Reclaim your fragmented attention span by doing just one thing at a time. Stop the rapid-fire context switching that is shredding your daily cognitive battery. When you work, just focus on work. When you eat, just eat your food. Give your brain the deep, unbroken focus it evolved to intensely enjoy. And most importantly, try to spend time in nature without looking at a screen. Listen to the wind, watch the clouds, and let your nervous system reset. Your physical body desperately craves the quiet, predictable rhythms of the nature. Society may have built a world of shining skyscrapers, fast cars, and supercomputers, but underneath your modern clothes, you are carrying a remarkably complex piece of the Ice Age inside your skull. It is a brilliant, powerful tool, but it requires the right maintenance. Stop treating your daily mental exhaustion as a personal failure. It is not laziness, it is a perfectly biological reaction to the next time you feel completely overwhelmed by the endless noise of modern life, just remember that your ancestors faced the absolute harshness of wild nature. You are biologically built for incredible resilience, but you are also built for profound rest. You just have to give your ancient brain permission to unplug. So tonight, try turning off your glowing screens an hour before you go to bed. Let the darkness signal to your body that the day is truly done. Allow the artificial digital urgency to slowly fade away. Your overflowing inbox will still be there tomorrow. And protect your attention span like it is the most valuable resource you have, because to the tech companies constantly bombarding you, it absolutely is. You possess the ultimate power to step out of the digital trap and give your ancient nervous system the quiet peace it has been desperately begging for. It just takes a little bit of conscious awareness and the brave willingness to embrace the boring, quiet moments that your prehistoric ancestors took for granted. The modern digital world is incredibly loud, wildly fast, and exhaustingly demanding. But you do not have to let it dictate your own internal biological rhythm. Take a deep breath. Feel the solid ground beneath your feet. You are safe, you are alive, and your amazing evolutionary journey is still far from over. Your phone buzzes in your pocket, an email pings on your screen, and a car honks outside, all in the span of 10 seconds. You feel the chaotic noise trying to grab your attention. But this time, you do not panic. You know exactly what is happening to your biology. Because for 99% of human history, a sudden noise meant life or death. Today, it's just a glowing rock, and you can choose to simply ignore it.